Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video, we are going to continue with our 8-directional movement, and we're going to get the sprites working and responding to our movement. So the first way I'll explain is just if you have the sprites as I do, so if you have 8 different sprites, and perhaps they're all animated in the same way mine is. So after we have set this, which is the movement, I'm also going to set the sprite. And you don't have to do it in this event, you could do it in the draw event or end step or something, but it just has to be after the movement has actually been calculated. Because kind of like our problem with when we weren't pressing a key down, we don't want to be changing the sprite if we're not moving. If we're facing the left, then we don't want it to turn back to the right once we've stopped pressing buttons. So I can actually continue this within here. And now I'm just going to use a switch statement to set the sprite. And I could check, for example, if the direction is equal to 0, then set the sprite to the right sprite, and if the direction is equal to 45 degrees, right, that would be the upright, then set the sprite to the upright sprite. And that would just be a chain of ifs and else ifs, but a switch statement makes it a little bit neater for us. So in this switch statement, we want to change the object's sprite index to all of our different sprites depending on what direction that we're going in. So I'm going to switch dir, and then we can lay out all of our different cases here. So for case 0, right, so if the direction is equal to 0 degrees, then we know that this has been set to move to the right. And then we put the colon here. This is just the syntax for a switch statement. We're going to be changing the sprite index of our object, because the sprite index is what sprite the object is currently drawing. So we want to get it to be showing different sprites for our different directions. So let's set the sprite index to SPR. And I've called mine right and upright for the upright, up for up, and you can see it really here. It doesn't really matter what you called it. And now when we're done with a case, we have to put a break, because that kind of signals that we are done performing the code for this case. If you don't do that, it's going to keep executing the code for the next case. And I'm going to just keep this on the same line again, just to make it a little bit neater for myself, because they're all going to look very similar to this. So we need 8 cases in total. There we go. And for all our cases, we want 0, 45, 90. So we're just going up in increments of 45, 135, 180, 225, 270, so that's down, and finally 315. All right, now we could fill all of these in. So upright, up 90 degrees, 135 degrees, so that's up left, 180, so left, 225, down left, down, and down right. All right, and one other thing I'm going to do, so that'll set the sprite, but I haven't controlled anything to do with the idle. And what I'm actually going to do is just freeze it on the first frame of my animation. You might have a completely separate animation that you want to set, but I'm just going to make this default to this first frame in all of my sprites. And I can do that right here because we have just checked if we're not moving, then I know that we're not pressing any buttons, and I'm going to want to freeze whatever sprite it's on. So I don't have to change the sprite index. I'm just going to set my image index, which is the frame, to 0, which is the first frame, because it starts at 0. And because it was animating a little bit fast for me, I'm actually going to change the image speed to be a bit slower. All right, let's run that. All right, so let's start moving. There we go. So we're getting all of our animations coming up. All right, so that's looking really great. Now, another thing you could do if you don't have these directions, then what we could do is just set everything that's facing to the left to the right sprite, but then also just flip the image X scale to be -1 in those cases. So that will just flip the X scale of the sprite. Right, so I'll just change that to the right ones just to prove that it does work. And to change it back to the correct direction, I'm just going to set this up here as 1. So if I play it again, it should be exactly the same. Yep, there we go. And that's probably it for today's tutorial. So I hope you guys are well, and I will see you next time.